There are many depopulation programs operating right now in America which are designed to leave scars on a person, designed to inflict emotional pain. Now, psychiatrists, psychologists, they all know that emotions can have an impact on a person's actions, on a person's mental health, and even on a community. And we're seeing this in places like Chicago, where we hear about random shootings. We see this when young kids enter stores and just start stealing stuff. They've been hurt. They are witnessing other people of other nationalities driving nice cars, having nice homes, having video games, and then when they look at their lives, all they see is pain and hurt, because many times they're even ridiculed for being poor and pushed to the side. Now, I was living in an area recently where the houses were pretty much like 1.1 million or $1 million or over, and I was living in a very decent area. I was staying with family. I had a very nice wardrobe, a decent car. Had a lot of older women that were chasing me, but I wasn't interested in the women that were chasing me. And was just seeking a woman my same age, was seeking stable employment, and I lived in a place where it was a tourist town. And I witnessed the suffering of many men, especially with degrees from schools like Princeton, Auburn, and so on. I witnessed these men single for years, depressed, unhappy with life, and realized I needed to escape the situation that I was in, and I sought everything in my power to transcend above the state that I was in by going to school after school. My certifications from different schools cover 205 square feet. I have been studying my butt off, and I've been tagged, and these people are trying to bag me. So they're pretty much tagging and bagging me by harassing me in schools and in the community. Now, if you look at some of my videos, you will see little pieces of the harassment that I go through. I call it street theater. A lot of it's street theater. And I do have encounters with people. There are depopulation programs that people are not even aware they exist in the community, that operate through secret societies and even our own system. Now, I was reading here this article I find real interesting, and I had an encounter with this man that had moved, was from Atlanta, I believe, and it was a long time ago. I know he lived in Georgia. I believe it was a town called, I don't know if it was Buckhead, but it was a town in Atlanta. So anyways, we chit-chatted for a while, and he had told me that he had a past experience working for this group called the Weed and Seed Program. So I don't know if it was operating in Atlanta at that time, or if he had worked for it in another state. So to make a long story short, he came across as a good person, but told me that he would utilize psychology and harassment techniques to remove people from a community. I didn't think nothing of it, because at that time I was working for the Army Rec Center, and I had a job, was planning on going to school, I had a car, I lived in a private residential community, I lived in the best area in the panhandle of that area that I lived in, the panhandle of Florida. So I was thinking, this guy can't be talking about me, because I don't have a gun, I'm not violent, I'm not dangerous, I don't sell drugs. So just today I just decided to do research on this company. And one of my videos is called Who Are the Gang Stalkers? My username is Christopher Columbus. I actually have a picture where you see a bunch of kids, and behind these kids you see a couple guys wearing black shirts. Well, just recently I went to a park because I wanted to meditate, and I had a doctor's appointment, and I wanted to find a park where I can just sit down in nature with a bunch of trees and meditate for like 10 minutes before I go to my doctor's appointment. All of a sudden people start coming my way, acting like they're going to shoot me. They keep putting their hands behind their back, under their shirt, like they have a gun. I felt intimidated, so I left quickly because I felt my life was in danger. I started to have encounters with these people in different places and started seeing them follow me wherever I was going, in groups. And I live in a decent area. Pretty much everyone here drives a new model car, or has kids, has families, has a stable job. I don't associate with no one. I don't have any friends that are drug dealers. I don't know anyone. No one calls me. I don't hang out with thugs. I don't hang out with anyone. I just stay to myself. All this gang stalking has made it where I don't want to associate with no one. So I want to read to you something from this website, from the Weed and Seed program. So here, Office of Justice Programs, Executive Office for Weed and Seed, Department of Justice in cooperation with the Bureau of Justice Assistance, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and Departments of Agriculture, Education, and HHS, which is, I believe it stands for Health and Human Resources, or Health and Human Sources, something like that. And the program's goal is to weed out violence and drug activity in high crime neighborhoods, and then to seed the sites with a range of crime and drug prevention programs. Now, this is what's really odd. How can you weed out violence and drug activity in high crime neighborhoods and then want to put programs in there to help people? Well, the only way this is possible if this organization is being set up for the community to get involved, then they need to be issued badges, because what they're doing is trying to do the work of law enforcement. Because we have crime watch groups, we have 500 in the city of Austin. Many cities probably even have more. So what is happening is that all these different agencies in the community that are involved in gang stalking are getting together, and they operate through many different organizations and nonprofits. They're networking, and they're working to stop crime, but in a sense they're actually hurting communities, because what happens is that all these communities that are full of poor people are mostly involved in the use of drugs and alcohol. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I lived in a town where the whole community, it had pretty much no men. There was nothing but women and children. All the men were arrested. I actually witnessed the area depleted of men. And all these men all went to state prisons. A lot of them became mentally ill, got out, found out they couldn't rent in a ghetto. They couldn't go to school because maybe they had a drug charge. It was a very, very sad thing to watch, and I watched all these people go in and out, in and out, in and out. It was a real pitiful thing. So what is happening is that these programs are, in a sense, depopulation programs, because they seek to push people out of the community so they can put programs in there that are really not going to be of use. Because if you're removing the people that need the help and reaching people that really don't need no help, then what is the purpose of that organization? Sure, you can teach the kids some stuff that way to change their attitudes and they can do better in school, but their fathers are gone. So the family is broken and they don't have a true support system. So instead of helping these people, we're wanting to remove them from the community by any means necessary, even if it means that individual goes out and does something horrible in a community. That's what these people and a lot of these depopulation programs are willing to do. In their minds, they're doing a good thing, but in a sense, what they're doing is harming communities. They're putting our schools in danger. They're putting our fellow members of the community. They're putting people in a bad situation in a covert manner where no one knows, and hiding behind the federal government as a shield, saying we have the right to do this. We are goody tissues, when really these people that are behind the gang stalking are really not. They're really bad people. I mean, if someone's terrorizing people and consistently harassing someone, I believe they should be killed. Serious. I believe laws should be put in place where people are terrorizing people. They should just get a .50 caliber, stick it in their mouth, look at them one inch from their eye, and just praise God while they depart the earth. Serious. I believe America should have no room for people that seek to harm people, that seek to create and engineer events in our communities that harm families. Like the stuff that's going on in Chicago, if people are utilizing psychological warfare, trying to push people out of communities that have nothing instead of helping them, these people are bad. If you are attacking someone everywhere he goes, I mean, physically, spiritually, mentally, if you are systematically harassing someone everywhere they go and mocking them, pushing, then those people that are behind that need to suffer like they have caused this other person to suffer, whoever they've made to suffer, whoever they targeted. Because what happens is when you systematically harass someone, according to medical science, it leads to mass shootings. That's just how it is. And if anyone believes contrary to that, they need to do their research. They need to talk to people that have experience in psychiatry and psychology. Now, a lot of these programs, they are utilizing people that may even be your counselor. They're using volunteers that are psychiatrists to get involved in these federal, state, and local government community watch programs that are operating under the name of community engagement. And I have actually tracked one of these people. He had no idea that he was being tracked. He was driving a new model vehicle, and I witnessed him using drugs with a group of people next to a community engagement building that was next door to this Masonic temple. And I'm not saying they had anything to do with it, but hopefully they will watch these people so they can stop them. So they were doing this in an area where kids were going to school. And they noticed me and started laughing. And I knew the reason why they were laughing, because they were involved in my harassment. They were involved in stalking me in supermarkets, harassing me on the road, doing noise campaigns. And I realized when I had moved to Austin, Texas, that something really fishy was going on, because I'm on disability after getting hit with an 18-wheeler at 70 miles an hour. I survived and I can walk and run, but I was on disability because I started having spinal issues. So once my disability got transferred from New Mexico to Texas, these agencies like Health and Human Resources and all these, they start putting, my name out to all these organizations that are connected to stalking. And it was like that. And what I found really strange was that I hadn't even changed my driver's license on purpose for a few months, because I did it on purpose because I was scared that these gang stalkers were going to come after me again. So I realized that once I moved here, I didn't change my driver's license. No one knew me. That it had to have been that my that the people behind the Social Security, not Social Security, but like the Health and Human Resources, Social Security probably networks with them and alerts like, hey, this person's in town. Put the word out to all these different agencies, and then all of a sudden, boom, I was gang stalked like crazy. So I have started a nonprofit to have it. It was nonstop. I was every single day having to fix it up. It was attacked every single day. and I was writing grants. I talked to some people, and they're like, yeah, we'd be willing to give you, $120,000, help your nonprofit. But then when they started seeing that my nonprofit website was being defaced every day, it was like, we can't take you serious if you cannot maintain a good, website. It looked good at first, but now it was like crap. So I started going to school to have encounters with people carrying 10-inch knives to school, threatening me. The police had to actually come. And the classmates will tell you that I didn't even talk to them. I just did my schoolwork and try to help other classmates on assignments and just be a team player and just be quiet and just talk very little and just do my best in class so I could succeed. So I had left numerous schools. Well, let me get back on this thing, the weed and seed. So it appears that they're not, I'm sure the people are not bad people that are in these programs. A lot of these people are Christians. There's a lot of Christian organizations that actually get involved in gang stalking. And what is really sad is that some people are targeted by people that go to these churches. I was reading about one lady. She's involved in all types of stuff in this community, loves dogs, works with kids in schools, she's active in the church. But she was harassing a neighbor, ripping her plants up, terrorizing her every day. And she ended up getting arrested due to it. Just because someone says they're a Christian doesn't mean they're a good person. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice programs that are involved in this community policing are not bad, because these programs do have potential. But what happens is that when these people start getting their relatives, their friends, and everyone involved in these programs, Department of Homeland Security and all these agencies have no idea that this person may have had 800-900 people in a day maybe spit towards him or spit at him, deface his property, curse him out, honking horns every mile, harassing him everywhere he goes. So these government agencies have no idea that not only that they're harassing this one person, this person's being harassed by people all over the community. You may be having house break-ins, being harassed at schools. So a lot of times these people have no idea how much harassment one person is going through. And people can only take so much harassment. That's the reason why I'm actually planning on leaving this country. I'm a very strong-willed person. I'm a Buddhist. So I have a lot of compassion towards people, and I have studied about counterterrorism for about the past 8 years. I have read humongous books, and I understand how terrorists operate, how they think. I understand a lot of these community watch groups operate. I've seen the nastiness in politics. I've met politicians that will do horrific things just to get in power, and I have a good understanding on the human behavior and psychology. And I know that the only way for these programs to work is if law enforcement and nonprofits work together. So let me read something here from this Weed and Seed publication. It says, the Weed and Seed strategy is a two-pronged approach to crime control and prevention. The first one, it says, law enforcement agencies and prosecutors cooperate in weeding out criminals from the designated area. The second one is seeding, brings prevention, intervention, treatment, and neighborhood revitalization services to the area. So what they want to do is pretty much attack the poor, because I've gone to ghettos where every single person, like you'll see nothing but women and children, all the men are gone, and you can literally go to any building, and if you wanted to get drugs, everyone is selling them in these buildings. Everyone, it's everyone. So you'd have to weed out almost an entire ghetto to stop crime. So these groups are going to be filled mostly with the middle class and even lower class, but a lot of times even these lower class people will have steady jobs, and so they're getting steady employment, so they have something to look forward to, versus these people in ghettos that are having to maybe work 60, 70 temp jobs a year to be able to just pay the rent. And that doesn't include gas for the vehicle and feeding the family. So these programs have potential, But we need to let police do their job instead of people in the community seeking to police people that are trying to enjoy their lives and live their own lives versus having people invade their privacy, invade their personal space, harass them everywhere they go. So these organizations are utilizing neighborhood watch groups. They are mostly going to be filled with the middle class. So what it is these crime prevention programs are, in a sense, not a war against crime and drugs, but a crime. They're more interested in just removing people that are poor. Now, it is law enforcement's job to remove people from the community, not to harass people. We still have civil rights, human rights, and you can go to any country in Africa, Asia, all over the world. It's a proven fact that wherever you have poor people, there's going to be crime. That's just how it is. Let me give you an example. Let's say Russia or China dropped a bomb on us, and eventually it's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. Because we're placing missiles, and we want to place missiles on their border, and we're doing this like in Russia. So we're disrespecting people and making them feel unsafe. So eventually they're going to lash out at us because we are violating their dignity, and it's like we are using a whip and going, leaving a mark on them, a mark of shame, something which bothers the consciousness of a government and a people. It normally always leads to war, and countries and people will be willing to sacrifice their lives and their families and their kids to even die for that dignity, to die for respect, and say, no, you cannot do this. So we have people in these gang stalking groups which they're leaving marks on people. They're seeking to inflict emotional harm. And what these neighborhood watch groups think is that if someone's gang stalked, they're going to just move from that community. I've looked at the statistics, and yes, people do relocate, but the numbers are very small. And what I am seeing is a tremendous rise of mass shootings. According to many of these shooters are stating that they're being stalked, they're being harassed. So if we are harassing people in every area of their life, we're leaving wounds on them, we're scarring them, and in turn we are receiving a punishment. Our communities receive a punishment for that, and it's sad. It's sad when we hear 10 people were shot in Chicago one day, and our communities, instead of reducing crime, we have created men that are full of anger and resentment. Now, some of the tactics that have been used against me and I've documented these people's cars, and in the future I may even share the organizations they work with their full name if they don't stop. But I've had it where these people have dropped kids off and honked horns and laughed, and I've had them patrol up and down my street using kids as a way of mocking me, making me feel like like I don't belong in the community. But if we're doing this to African American people, this is what's going to end up happening is a lot of these guys are very masculine, and they're going to take it as an act against their manhood and their dignity, and they're going to say, oh, you're calling me a coward, and like we're just going to send women and children to harass you. And then these men these people are doing this to are going to end up going and committing a horrible act towards a group of people that look similar to these people's race and nationality. And I say this with love. I don't say this with no hurt or any pain at all, because I'm learning how to deal with the stalking and systematic abuse that I've endured in many states. And I encourage people that are experiencing gang stalking, go get nicely dressed. Go there and confront these agencies. I don't care what letter their organization starts with. Go there nicely dressed. Let them see like, hey, You're not a bad person. You're not driving a hoopty. You're not living, or even if you do live in a ghetto, still get nicely dressed. Go over there. Take someone that has a nice car to drive you over there and try to communicate. And if these people do not want to communicate with you, then, file complaints. Say, look, internal affairs, I'm being gang stalked and these police won't take my report. They won't help me. Or this agency is not willing to listen to me and hear me out, and I feel like this is wrong. Them are things that you can utilize to protect yourself against corruption. So if you are involved in an activity which is based on harassment, I feel that you have the duty to report this to other agencies and let them know that, look, this is unethical behavior, and even to confront the person that's even being stalked and saying, look, I'm behind this harassment. You're not crazy. You are being harassed, and I want to help stop this. Now, a lot of these organizations are using non-confidentiality agreements, so that way these people will not talk about what they're going through. But people, you have an obligation as a human being that if something is going on in a community which is harmful, not just for that person and their relatives in their community, but even our system, it's important that you alert people in our government, or representatives, or senate, and let them know that, look, there's some highly illegal stuff going on in this organization, and I need your help to stop it. Just say no to terrorism and say yes to justice. God bless, and bye.